Hey everyone, this is probably going to be a shorter video than usual as I am pressed for time trying to pack for a trip, get ready for work and write 3 or 4 videos before then for recording later. In fact, as you watch this, it's very likely that I am actually on my trip, either in a car or else on the road. So, run wild in the comments. I won't see them until later. With that explanation and challenge out of the way, we now move on to the explanation behind the video. What is the difference between technobabble and scientific accuracy? In order to answer that question, I want you to think back to all that Star Trek that you have watched over the years. All the times that the Enterprise was going to explode in 5 seconds under the crushing grip of a giant green space hand, only for the chief engineer to suddenly realize he could reverse the gamma-ray polarity of the ship's deflector dish and emit a negatively charged tachyon pulse that would break up the hand's magnetic field and allow the ship to escape in the nick of time. Or, how often has there been a situation where 2 crew members who dislike one another are stranded alone in a desert planet without a way of calling for help, only for one of them to pull out their phaser, rip its insides open while muttering about magnetic pulses and energy emission on lower frequencies and fashion some crude subspace signal booster for their communications, thereby allowing them to send a signal for help and be rescued? Okay, those are both extreme examples, but it does sound like something we would see in the shows, right? I mean, you gotta give me credit for that. And that is 2 on-the-fly examples of technobabble. It is, at its most basic, a string of vaguely sciencey sounding words thrown together in a vague semblance of coherence, then passed on as something that would actually work by a straight-faced actor. Kind of like my scripts for this video, except for the straight-faced competent actor part. Technobabble seldom has any bearing on reality and is, to be honest, nonsense, written to make the show sound a bit more grounded in reality. So that's technobabble. On the other hand, what's scientific accuracy? Now, most shows in the sci-fi vein tend towards technobabble. Usually they do so in circumstances where they want to come up with a scientific explanation to show how they get out of a given situation, or try to explain some of the less plausible elements of their setting. Things like faster-than-light drives, time travel, a sonic screwdriver. They come up with some explanation that doesn't necessarily make any sense, but seems reasonable to the viewer as they're watching that, to make the world seem a bit more grounded. Conversely to this, scientific accuracy tends to be something that is shown rather than told. The Expanse, for instance, an excellent series for this sort of thing, does not go on and on about the science behind their show. That's the job of the fans. Instead, they tend to just show off the science through the visuals of the show. They show in the show. As an example, when the battleship Donager fights several stealthed enemy ships, it's a perfect example, as the fight is well grounded in reality, moved according to real-world physics, and the 2 ships do engage with weapons that are limited by the same forces. There's no implausible or impractical elements. But we never hear at any point the characters go on and on about the science behind things. It just is. The closest we get is a few mentions about maneuvers, course projections, and gravitic forces. It's generally fairly obvious as well that this is accurate to the real world based on our own experiences. Battlestar Galactica also has some very good examples of scientific accuracy, as does Babylon 5, and on occasion Star Trek even has some surprising examples of accuracy in it here and there. Star Wars is kind of the odd one out. Ethereal rudders, words. And all made-up MacGuffins, basically, that I apparently cannot pronounce. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. As I say, this is a shorter video. There isn't really much of a point to it either. It's not like anything has been annoying me on the topic. I just wanted to make a bit of clarification about 2 things, 1 thing, and stumble through an explanation. I've done that. That's all there is to it. If you like the video, then be sure to like it, leave a comment if you want, and even subscribe to the channel for more videos like it in the future. You know, if you like that kind of thing. Which if you've made it this far, you probably do.